How's everyone going? I was just listening to Andrea and I was thinking, something to how you could remember that sort of stuff. And I was thinking it'd be really cool if Beyonce got involved in marketing sterilisation. You could do this, if you like it, then you should have put a lid on it. What? I'm not going to do all the moves. I was practicing it in my head. I love that bit when they go, there's a fat guy that does it on YouTube. You've got to watch it. But yeah, so if you like it, you should have put a... Do you like that? You like that?
We do it in the States.
Yeah? Yeah, anyway. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted here. So who remembers something from yesterday that I shared? Maybe this area here. What's one thing you remembered? Someone yell something at me, make me feel good. What? Reflect more. That's good. What about this middle section here? Yep. What's that? Cheers. Yeah, well, that's pretty good. And here. The why. Well, you guys are good, because evidently statistics tell me that 68% of what you hear in the first 24 hours you're completely forgotten. And in the next 24 hours you've forgotten everything. So like in 2 days I'm going to feel really sad because you're going to not remember me at all. But the cool thing is I can come back in a week's time and say it all again and you go, wow, that was really good. Haven't heard that before. Kind of like memory. What was your name again? Pat. So I was thinking it's really nice to have Pat up here, because it gets a bit lonely when you're talking. So we should give Pat a clap. What do you reckon? Yeah, good. I was sitting over there, Pat, watching you, and I know it's more of a boy thing, but did you girls watch Thunderbirds when you were young? And you kind of look a bit like Mr. Tracy there, doesn't he? Like international rescue. And I was thinking if he doesn't like me, he's going to push a button, I'm going to disappear through a hole in the floor, But I had these glasses and I was going to wear them. I look a bit like Brains and I thought we could have done this routine. But so maybe instead, and hey, that's good. See, orthodontists have a personality. We've just proven it. It's fantastic. And some dentists actually have a personality too. It's quite nice. So it's nice to be up here with you, Pat, because it is a bit lonely. And if Pat goes to sleep, can you all just yell at him? Just say, "Wake up, Pat," because they'll notice they're looking at you. They're watching what you do. Okay, all right. Sorry, I get a bit distracted sometimes. You guys okay? Everyone all right? Okay, so we'll try and finish on time. So I thought we'd talk about a very important subject this afternoon. And there it is. You! I want to talk about you. Is that okay? No orthodontics, no bonding, no stuff like that. Just let's talk about you. And maybe me as well, because I think that's a very important subject. I think business from the heart is about having an engaged heart. So many people go through life just drifting and not really being involved, not sort of absent. You sometimes have a conversation. I know ladies say this sometimes. You're talking to your husband and he's absent, not there. Hello. And a lot of us in life, we're not really engaged in the process. So it's important to have an engaged heart in what you do. And I think that's something that you can influence everybody around you in a positive way. So trust the second two parts of this presentation. Again, something might fall off the wall and land in here. And as I said yesterday, hopefully change your life, because not asking for much, just want to maybe change your life. It'd be nice. So the first part of this is understanding, as I said yesterday, that we all have our business goals, the stuff you're wanting to achieve working in the orthodontic practices that you're working in. And then when you go home, there's all this personal stuff, things that you're wanting to achieve. And I love this poem by Robert Frost, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that's made the difference every day. And I kind of like these two paths. They're like our personal and our business goals. And as I said yesterday, really important to have those things aligned, to be going in the same direction, because if personally you're going over here and your business is over here, you're going to have this wonky life, So as you're leaving today and heading away from this conference, important word I like is to have an aligned life, to hopefully think the moments between 8:30 and 5 or whenever it is are helping me to get through the other hours between 5 and the next morning, to have the personal goals and your business goals set up in the same direction. So I look at these two words, failure and success, and I like to think about things a little bit sometimes, a bit abstractly, but this top word here, failure, I really don't believe in life that there's anything that you can fail at except one thing. And maybe if you could have a guess at it, there's one thing I think that we can fail at in life. Any feedback, thoughts? What do you reckon it might be? Not making a decision. Yeah, and it kind of, like, let's extend on that a bit. Yeah, what? Oh, beautiful. Have you heard me before? Oh, excellent. I can ask you all the stuff. You can say right things. Let's just pretend that we didn't say that. So yeah, participation, right? Because I think that's the only thing that you can fail at in life. And it's interesting looking at you guys. I was thinking earlier today, talking to a group like this, you kind of don't see what I see, but I was thinking back to the Roman days, when they used to throw the Christians to the lions, and you're kind of like spectating at me a little bit like that. And in a way, life can be a little bit like what you're doing right now. Sit back and go, that's a pretty good show, or it's a bit boring, didn't really like him or her. And you can make your judgment and your call. Or you could come down here and get involved, And I remember one of my kids said to me once, Dad, I really like you. I said, that's nice, because, it's positive, isn't it? When your kids say, I really like you. Really like you, Dad, because... you're always interested in us and you're always asking us questions, what we're doing, and you show an active interest. Go around to some of my mates' places and the dad's got like uses his tummy to hold the remote control in a beer, that's what it's sitting there, coffee table type tummy, and not really interested, not really engaged. And I love how you're always involved, and that was nice to hear. But I think, sometimes we spectate our way through life. And so in saying that, I think the most important thing that we can do is to actively participate in everything that we're doing. And even with what Andrew was saying about the cross-infection, the sterilisation, participation in the processes and the enjoyable things that we can do every day, to actively be involved in those things. So important in our work life and in our personal life, because I don't know about you, but I want to be like this guy, No, I don't look like him really that much, but... Russell Crowe and Gladiator, you guys seen the movie? The bit when he's chucked down into the arena and the lions and the tigers are jumping out of the pit and he's got his swords in his hand and he's stabbing at stuff. That's exciting, isn't it? It very much gets the blood going. That's where the action is. That's where the things are happening. And active participation is what it's all about. Not spectating, but getting involved. And so, again, I'd be asking you as you leave this conference to be thinking of ways that you can actively be involved in your teams, participating in everything that happens and really enjoying the process. Got a little clip I want to show you that I think talks about that.
I read something once years ago, and I learned it off by heart. It was Theodore Roosevelt said it. He said it's not the critic that counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena.
I don't know if you've seen the film, but it's a story about a guy called Burt Munro from Invercargill in New Zealand. At 68 years of age, goes to the salt plains of Bonneville and rides an Indian motorcycle at 200 miles per hour across the salt plains in 1968. Took a motorbike on a boat all that way. And I guess if anyone should know, it's a true story. If you haven't seen the movie, see it. It's great. World's fastest Indian. Very inspiring story. He should know. Somebody who's not sitting back and criticizing the person, but actually getting down in the arena. And again, that person who is there doing things. And I think, if we actively get involved in life, in our personal lives and our business lives, then you can afford to have a face a little bit like this. You want to have that, well, yeah, oh, I did it, and I love those days when you get to the end of a working day and you go, you know what, we were all actively involved, it was so great, we treated these patients, had a great time, happy people came in, yeah, a little bit like that baby. That's what I would want for you. That's what I want for you when you leave here, and that's what I want for you every day. That's what I want for me too. Very important. So, in leaving today, I'm going to give you 4 things that I think you could do right now. And again, if you did these things, it could change your life. So I think the most important thing to first talk about is here they are, make a commitment, do more for other people, start rowing, and beware of the four thieves. Okay, so let's work through these things one at a time and see what they are. First thing up is this one here, to make a commitment. Now, that's the most important thing, first of all, right? Any relationship, any business situation you're in, you've got to be committed to what you do. So when I think of commitment, I've got a great story. It's probably my favourite story about commitment. It's about this guy here, Charles Blondin. If you don't believe me, there's the newspaper article. Friday, September the 14th, 1860, this man, Charles Blondin, strung a tightrope across Niagara Falls, from the Canadian side of the falls to the American side. And he proceeds to walk across Niagara Falls. And as he's getting very close to the American side of the falls, he starts to call out to the crowd, "I am Blondin. Do you believe in me?" And all this crowd go, "Yeah," hysteria, and woohoo, we believe. And he starts walking a little bit closer. He said, "I'm glad to see that you believe in me, because this time I'm going to go back to the Canadian side of the falls, but I'm going to carry somebody with me on my back. Do you believe that I can do that?" And yeah! This crowd's going crazy by now. And as he gets very close to the American side of the falls, and he looks into the crowd, he says, "Good. Who will be that person?" It's a little bit like these guys over here. They're all looking at me going, "No way," Because you would be mad, right? You would be out of your mind to climb on this guy's back. And I got my version on the story. I'm not sure exactly what history did, but I reckon that his sales manager was in the audience and he saw a good gig going bad and he thought, "Oh man, no one's going to volunteer, so I will." And this guy stepped out of the audience, and there's a photo of him. And for an hour and a half, Blondin inched his way back to the Canadian side of the falls with this guy on his back. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be on his back for 1 second, 2 seconds, an hour and a half. Now here's the point of the story. Hundreds and thousands of people, whoever they were, yelled out, "Yeah, we believe," but only one person really believed, right? Because commitment, true commitment in business and in life, is handing your life over into the hands of the person or the orthodontic team or the sports club or the bunch of friends that you say you believe in. And here's the good news of today. I'm not asking you to do something mental like walk a tightrope across Niagara Falls. I'm just saying, when you go back to your workplace tomorrow, in your heart, not in your head, are you prepared in your heart to say, "You know what, I believe in this bunch of people that I'm working with, and I want to commit to making this the best orthodontic team in wherever I'm from"? Because if you can do that, commitment is such a tremendous thing. The scary thing about the workplace today is most employers are not paying people to work, they're paying people to show up, because most people aren't committed. If you can make a commitment, man, it makes all the difference. So there's the first thing. Are you prepared to make that commitment? And I guess you could answer that for yourself, right? So the second thing is all about this thing of doing things for others. And I want to share a short story with you, which I really love. I was travelling back on business, and I was in Wellington, New Zealand, around Christmas time, and I was driving in the taxi cab, and the taxi driver said to me, "Oh, you're heading home for Christmas, are you?" I said, "Yep." And he said, "Oh, I've got a good story for you." I said, "Right, away you go." We had a bit of time. And he started to tell me this story. So the story went a little bit like this. 30 years ago, he was a soldier in the army in Canberra. And he was on a mission with a friend of his, and the idea was they had to get back to base. But they got lost in the bush at night, started raining, and they were stuck. And on the way through the forest, they found this rundown old orphanage, and it was a bit, wrecked and horrible, and the paint was peeling off the walls and leaking. But it was run by a couple of nuns, and there was all these children who didn't really have very good clothes and things. But they put them up for the night, and they fed them. And in the morning, they went on their way. But at that point, the soldier decided that they really wanted to do something to help these people. So they, after some careful thought, the army received a lot of assistance from the townsfolk, because 30 years ago, when the army said we're going to do something, everyone in the town responded. A little bit different to today. Real participation. So the local building shop got the roof cladding materials, the paint guys gave all the paint up, the cement guys got involved, and the local toy shop gave a whole lot of toys. And they fixed the whole place up, looked really beautiful. And Christmas Eve, the soldier and his mate that got fed by these nuns and the children went up to the orphanage, dressed as elves with a big bag over each shoulder with all these toys, and they gave them out. And they played with the kids all day and they had a great time. And there was one little girl in the crowd who really got attached to this soldier. He'd given her a present and it was a tea set. And at the end of the day, this little girl grabbed onto this guy's leg and she's crying. She'd go, "Don't go, mister, don't go." And he said it was heart-wrenching in many ways to see these children and particularly this little girl. And I guess the thing is, here's life, right, for all of us. You do something good for somebody and you forget about it, and life goes by, and we don't reflect, as someone over here shared. We fail to gather the moments, and it's 30 years later, and he's left the army, and he's now a taxi driver. He's living in New Zealand, but he happens to go on a holiday. And where is he? He's in Canberra, and he's walking around Target, the department store, with his wife. And I know that you ladies will know what I mean when I say this. Sometimes girls have a knowing look. They're with their husband, and they're walking through the shop, and the wife of this taxi driver happens to see this lady looking at her husband. She said, "Oi, that woman over there, she's giving you the eye." And he went, "No, she isn't." He went, bang, gave him an elbow. She said, "Yes, she is." And he got another one again. And anyway, it wasn't long before this young lady came over to this guy and his wife, and she said, "Hello, mister." And he's kind of looking at her blankly, and she said, "You don't remember me, do you?" And he said, "No." And she said, "I was the little girl who you gave the tea set to at that Christmas party in the orphanage 30 years ago. And it meant so much to me because it was the first present that anyone had ever given to me." And, it wasn't long before this retired soldier and his wife were invited back to this lady's home. And it had meant a lot to her because she'd kept the tea set all that time. She made a cup of tea for the retired soldier and his wife and brought it out to them, and they shared a cup of tea. And I think, the thing about this is this thing of you are in this beautiful business of being able to give people something so special, a smile. And and in orthodontics, you're straightening up now, that people are smiling beautiful. What a gift to be able to give. And I guess you'll never know the moments when you really make a difference in someone's life. You might have people like that little girl that are coming in to your practice that you're touching day to day and making a tremendous difference. So don't ever tell me you're just an assistant or a practice manager. You can make an enormous difference in people's lives. And I think a good life is marked by a couple of things. Number one, the contribution that we can give to others. I think about life today, and it's pretty complex with the internet and all that crazy stuff. Everyone's out taking selfies of themselves and looking beautiful. But, reality is that's not the stuff that makes you happy. The real happiness that you're going to get from your life, your business life and personal life, is when you're contributing to the lives of others, and you're in a beautiful position to be able to do that. The other thing that happens, of course, from contributing is you get respect from the people that come in your door every day. So a good life is marked by two things: the contribution that you can bring and the respect that you will get from others. So I want to give you something today that I think is a practical tool, and maybe you can remember this when you wake up tomorrow morning, something that you could put into practice. So let's see how awake everyone is at this time of the day. I've got this thing called my OR. Now I'm looking for 3 words beginning with O, A, and R. So I'm going to chuck something up on the board. There it is. What's that? Come on, help me out here. I'm dying. It's a... Man, you're damn good this side, right? You got it exactly right. It's a line. It's a straight line. That is the line of your life, okay? Your life and my life. It's pretty good. It's a straight line. And I put a little letter V in the middle of that line, and that's what I call my values. Now, for you and for me, we're all going to have different values, things that are important to us, right? Is that okay? Everyone all right so far? So, with the line of our life, I'm going to give you 2 choices every day. First one is you can live above that line, or you could live below that line if you want to. So, looking for 3 words now. We're going to live above the line. I think that's a good place to live. Let's think about positively. So if I want to live above the line, the first thing I'm looking for is a word beginning with O. So it's my life. I'm going to take... Oh, man, you're good. I mean, has everyone heard me before? I'm going to take ownership of everything that happens to me. Second one begins with A. Now, what do you think this is about? I am going to take accountability. And finally, the last one beginning with R, ultimately, it's my life. I'm going to take responsibility. Man, you guys are good. So that's it. That's my or. Now, on a daily basis, I have that choice. If I want to live above the line, I'm going to take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything that happens to me. Now, sometimes you don't feel like taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility, right? I want to be grumpy. I want to live below the line. Don't feel like getting on with anyone. I want to just have my own little bad space. Like that time I came down to Adelaide and Qantas thought it would be a really funny idea to send my underwear to Peking. So I'm in Adelaide and my undies are in China. You might think that's really funny. Actually, what was good about it was the girls who I was talking to, they gave me some advice. They said it's okay, like after day 1, you just turn them inside out and you can recycle them. So I don't know if you ever get stuck in this, but this is something you can do. But after day 3, like I'm not feeling like taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility. I went down to the reception of the hotel and the lady goes, "Good morning, how are you, sir?" I said, "I'm grumpy. I don't feel like being happy today. I want to live below the line." That's what I was feeling. I didn't actually say that to her. So if you want to live below the line, I'm going to give you something that you can live below the line with as well. So three letters I'm looking for again. Now the first one begins with B. And if I want to live below the line, I like to pass the blame. Here we go. And then if I don't really feel like living above the line, I want to live below the line, I make up a whole bunch of these beginning with the letter E there. Excuses. Isn't it interesting when below the line it really comes quickly, all the words, right? And the final one, I pretend it didn't happen at all and I want to deny. My dad said to me, if you ever get in trouble, Andrew, just deny, deny, deny. So blame, excuse, and deny. And here's the thing. We can choose to row with our oar or you can stay in bed. And I'm going to give you something to think about tomorrow. When you wake up and you think of me, maybe think of me tomorrow, think of me. When you wake up tomorrow, I'm going to give you 2 things you can do. First thing is you're going to get out of bed tomorrow morning and you're going to put your feet on the floor and your feet are going to be above the ground and not below it. So that's pretty good, eh? You're alive. And the second thing I want you to do is you're going to say, I am going to take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything that happens to me. Isn't that good? You like that? The or. Easy to remember, something that you can take away. So many people don't take ownership, accountability, and responsibility. We're going to split the room into 2. We're going to create a rowing boat now. So what's your name? Victor and Fiona become our captains. And here we are in our massive orthodontic rowing boat. And Victor and Fiona are our team captains. And Victor's side of the boat says, you know what? I want to live above the line. I want to take ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And the whole side of this room go, yeah, Victor. But like blinded. Oh, all right. But Fiona's side of the room, they can't be bothered. It's 4:30 at the blimmin' orthodontic thing. They just want to go have a beer. They don't want to sit around, blame, excuse, deny. So they don't want it. You guys want to live below the line, right? I hope that's okay, just for a moment. So Victor and Fiona, Victor's side's got the oars in the water, and Fiona's side, they say, no, we don't want to do that. And Victor's side of the boat starts rowing. What's going to happen to our beautiful orthodontic rowing boat? Goes round in circles, right? Now, here's the scary thing about this, and have a look at this. If I had a board, I'd scribble all over it with felt. But most of our lives go round and round and round and round and round and round in the same old circle. And you know what I'm saying is true. You wake up and you do the same old thing, and you think, I wish I did something different, but you don't. You go round and round in circles. And that's okay. But you notice when I was doing that most of the time, we spend our time down here, blaming, excusing, and denying that things are ever really going to change. So the challenge is, how do we do that? And my invitation to you is to say tomorrow when you wake up, let's think about this and say, rather than blaming, excusing, denying, I want to work with a team. I want to make a commitment to the group of people that I work with, and I'll live above the line, take ownership, accountability, and responsibility. So that's our rowing. Everyone okay with that? Because ultimately, there's Dorothy and she's standing before the Wizard of Oz. And who would you rather be? Somebody who makes things happen? Somebody who watches things happen? Somebody who wonders what happened? Or somebody who never knew anything happened? So many people like that. Oh, what's going on? Just drifting through life. It's really important to get engaged in what you do. Be involved. Don't just show up to work. Be paid for what you do. Business from the heart. Really be involved in what we do. See, so what have we learned? We talked yesterday, and thank you for remembering some stuff. I'm really happy about that. We talked about the power of reflecting. We talked about breaking through our brick walls, and if we've got a brick wall that we can get through it. We talked about making a commitment to the things that matter and doing more things for others. That life of contribution. Beautiful story about the taxi driver and the tea set. So I believe it's actually the heart that instructs you on what to do if you have the courage to follow what your heart says. And, I asked my boss one time, I said, how do I explain all of this stuff when I'm talking to customers and people about, maybe coming out to talk to them? He said, it's easy. How would you treat your best mate? And I thought, then suddenly it became really easy for me because I knew who one of my best mates was. And there she is, that's my sister, Hallie. And you might have heard me talk a little bit about her yesterday. And when I was talking about my mum, and I said my mum went to the most expensive dentist in Auckland, I said, Mum, why do you go to that guy? And she said, because he's a nice man and he looks after Hallie. Well, who was Hallie? Hallie was my sister. And Hallie was the person who probably influenced me most in my young life. She taught me about believing in myself, helping others, being kind. And she got diagnosed with a disease called Friedreich's ataxia, which basically means that the nervous system slowly shuts down. So she got severely paralysed and she had to go into a wheelchair at the age of 13. And basically this thing gets everything, your eyesight, your hearing, and towards the end, it really shut her down. And she died in November last year. But, and I think about her every day. And I thought to myself, after everything that she did for me, there isn't anything that I wouldn't do for her. So you start thinking about how would you treat your best mate. Here's something now for all of you to think about. You say, what are you going to do tomorrow? I'm going to go hang out with my best mate. You got the day off? No, I'm going to work. Wouldn't that be an interesting way of thinking about things? I am going to hang out with my best friends at work because I love going there. I had this girl in Auckland called Angela, and we did a review one time on her job. I said, how are you going, Angela? She goes, well, I have to say, Andrew, I can't wait to get up on a Monday morning and go to work. I thought, man, you're sick. No, I actually thought, as the boss, what more could I want as the boss? Someone who can't wait to get up on a Monday morning and come to work. And we're still friends, I hang out with her on Facebook and we connect and we talk about stuff and life. And, it's nice to meet people like that. So when you go to work tomorrow, when you look forward to hanging out with your best mates, wow, wouldn't the world be a different place if that's how we thought about work? So many people don't think about that at work. I was talking to a couple of girls just here in the audience before I came on. Said, we've got a lot of problems in our team. New people have come on, people not talking to each other, don't like each other, different fragmented things happening. It happens everywhere in workplaces. But if you just thought of people as your best friend, how different would things be? However, in closing up today, I've got a warning for you because as you walk out the door of this room, there are going to be 4 thieves waiting outside, just outside the door, and they're going to try and rob you of your joy. Anything that you want to take away from this meeting that was good, they're going to try and steal it from you. So I'm just going to warn you who they are, and I'm going to identify them for you so you can watch out for them and don't let them get to you. The first one, and I think this is the greatest thief in life, cynicism. The internet is a terrible thing in some ways because anybody who wants to do good, have you noticed when people put stuff up on Facebook or Twitter and they say something really positive, there's about 2,000 comments underneath it where people want to write negative stuff. It's created this environment where people think they can sledge people without even knowing who they are and give people a hard time. Cynicism is a great thief in this generation that we're living in. People like to steal your joy away. Nothing's ever going to change in this practice. Things are always going to be the way it is. People put their hands, going, nah, nothing's going to happen. The boss is always like that. Cynical attitude will rob you of your joy. Don't be cynical and don't listen to that thief of cynicism. Next one is this resignation. Last year, 2013, bit of a tough year for a lot of people. I hear in business, trading was a bit flat in some areas, people struggling a little bit. Certainly in the retail environment, you look, things were down. People sometimes go, it's just too hard. I want to give up. Resignation. Again, people who resign to the fact and say, it's just too much, will rob you of your joy. Don't let resignation steal your joy away from you. Then there's this one, anger, In the surgery sometimes, where's that rubber dam clamp? People just get so upset about the little things, right? My dad was a really successful businessman and, he overtook major corporations. Nothing would ever faze him. But man, if I drank his Pepsi in the fridge, would the world fall apart? And often it's the little things, right? The little things that upset us. Don't let anger rob you of your joy. And finally, this one here, procrastination. Putting off the things that you should do. Don't procrastinate. And don't hold back on things. So, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about life. And sometimes, you can get to a certain stage in your life and say, man, things haven't really turned out the way that I wanted them to. They haven't really evolved into the person I want to be, and maybe I'll never get there. And we can tend to let these four thieves rob us of our joy. And I was thinking, I've got a clip I'd just like to show you. So let's dim the lights down and let's go to the movies. I'm going to come over and hang out with Kent here and watch the movie with you. So anyone been to the movie Up? Yeah. Okay. So this is the movie Up, and this is at the end of this movie. This guy Carl, he's an old guy, and earlier on in the movie, he was married to a lady called Ellie, and they had a whole lot of dreams and things that they wanted to do with their life. And they wanted to go to this place called Paradise Falls, and that was the dream that they shared together. But unfortunately, Ellie died earlier on in the film, and there's this crazy thing that happens where this whole bunch of balloons make his house float, and he flies up to this place where he originally wanted to go with his wife Ellie. It's this place called Paradise Falls. And this is the scene at the end of the film where they've landed in Paradise Falls, and he's kind of thinking, well, life didn't really turn out the way that I wanted it to. Things didn't really go the way I wanted, and he's all alone and thinking, wow, what's my life amounted to? And maybe some of you might be feeling like that too. Maybe some of you go through that sort of thought. And he and his wife put together this adventure book, and that was the place where they wanted to go together, Paradise Falls, but it didn't happen, and he's kind of feeling a bit sad, because the things that he really wanted to do didn't happen, and starts to look back on the pictures of them in their earlier life and reflect on the things that they did, and you can see that they had these dreams to be big adventurers and go places and do stuff. And then there was this part of the book called Stuff I'm Going to Do, and he always thought that was a blank part of the book because it was unwritten and they didn't get a chance to complete it. And he's got that regret, feeling the things I didn't do. And obviously at this point he's pretty sad. And he goes to close the book, and then he sees, wow, there's actually a bit more to it. And he actually finds that his wife had put these pictures in there of all the stuff that they did do. They got married, and they got to dance together. They got to have birthdays and do all that normal stuff that people love to do. They got to get old together, go feed the birds, all the normal, simple things that we all love to do. And then he looks down and he sees a little message that she wrote to him. Thanks for the adventure. Now go have a new one. Love, Ellie. See, here's the thing, I really feel strongly about. I don't know how you feel about watching stuff like that, but don't wait for the adventure to happen, It's happening right now. The adventure for you and for me, it's happening right now. And that's what he discovered. Thanks for the adventure, now go have a new one. And so, in terms of watching out for those 4 thieves that are outside, I think it's really important to remember that there's Mickey, he's kicking the ball, I think it's important to kick the cynicism, kick the resignation, kick the anger, and kick the procrastination. Because as you can see, it's all crap. So if you can kick the crap out of your life, you can have a great life. Thanks for listening. It's been really nice to see you. Yeah, pleasure.